Okay, great. So thank you again for joining. My name is Laura Santner, and I'll be here with you to talk about strong emotions after relapse. Um, I will go through the presentation and then I'll leave time at the end for any questions related to the topic. And you can write that in the question and answer chat box. Okay, so without further ado, strong emotions after relapse. See if the slides work. Okay. This, whoops, hold on. This happened before. Sometimes it takes a minute. Okay, excellent. So just to give you a little bit of an overview of what this presentation is going to look like is we're going to go over what a relapse is first, and then go over some thoughts and feelings, coping skills and strategies, and then additional supports. And then I left off here, but questions. Okay. And yeah, feel free. I do see, let's see, I will. Oh, and again, interesting. This question came up before as the first question. So, yep. So the presentation is about 30 minutes. And then we'll do question and answer for about 15 minutes. So about 45 minutes to an hour. Um, okay. Okay. So let us, sometimes the slides. Okay. So relapse. Life is unpredictable, right? Things pop up unexpectedly. A lot of things are out of our control, right? So this is very overwhelming and is a big trigger. So when this happens, it often catches us by surprise and winds up leading to pulling. It's normal, it's expected, and it's part of the recovery journey. So a relapse can range from a very short, small episode to a very long episode, one that could last, hours, weeks, months, even years. Can have a year-long relapse. It's okay. It's still normal. And it does not mean that you are starting all over again. It feels that way. It's really frustrating, but it doesn't mean you're starting all over again. And I will go into that a little bit more detail. Oh, these slides are being really slow to move forward. Okay, so the word relapse, I want to talk a little bit about that word first. So I like to rephrase it to slips because relapse tends to be kind of this all or nothing thinking, um, which increases anxiety, shame, guilt, anger, and frustration, disappointment, like we were just talking about. So, for example, I just relapsed and I negated all the work I just did. I might as well keep pulling now because I have to start all over again anyway, right? How many times have you said that to yourself? So instead, I change it to slips because slips allow for more self forgiveness and self compassion. Um, it's important to remember that it does not take away from your knowledge and all of your efforts. So it might feel like you have to start all over again, um, but you don't. Okay. Everything that you've been working on is still there, and you still have all that knowledge, and you'll get back on track. Instead, I encourage you to talk to yourself and think and ask yourself, what just happened? Why? What can I do now? And what are my next steps? What can I do next time? So instead of, I just relapsed and negated all the hard work that I just did, I've started all over again. I'm so angry, I'm disappointed with myself, right? Instead, what just happened? Why? What can I do now? What are my next steps? What can I do next time? This helps to take some of that pressure off so that you can get back on track faster and move forward. So, a big contributor to strong emotions such as shame and guilt is stigma. So, BFRBs affect millions, but they're not well understood. So, as a result, it's often kind of seen as a bad habit that you can just be stopped using willpower, right? Wrong. Obviously, it cannot just be stopped using willpower. That is a misconception. Um, it's quite debilitating. A lot of shame. If you could stop, you would, obviously. So stigma, it is so misunderstood and not well known. People, therefore, people tend to hide, right? Hide evidence of their BFRBs. You're embarrassed. We're embarrassed. Wigs, hair pieces, false lashes, false nails, makeup, clothing choices, refusing to let people see different parts of your body. This shame can interfere with relationships, intimacy, enjoying activities, daily functioning. So stigma takes a toll. Um, Something to think about that can help reduce or smash stigma is to actually share your feelings and your experience, educate others so that you can help spread that information, spread awareness. The more it's out there, the more people know about it, more people have the real information about it. That will help to reduce shame and stigma. That will help to reduce those strong emotions that you're feeling. Many people with BFRBs also find comfort in learning that you're not alone. So, talking to a therapist, friend, family, partner, joining a support group. So, things like that, just to help talk about it. Don't keep all of those emotions inside in your head. Talk about it. It will help. It might not feel like it will help, but it does. You get more comfortable, you get more confident, and again, you smash that stigma. So let's go into thoughts and feelings. This is a big topic, right? We're experiencing strong emotions. So I broke down kind of thoughts and feelings into different categories. So the first one is body focused categories, body focused. So um, some common thoughts and feelings you might have yourself. I am ashamed about how I look. I am ugly. The damage I caused is disgusting. No one is going to like me. People will think I'm weird or something is wrong with me. Um, Common thoughts and feelings that are body focused. Some thoughts and feelings that are more behavioral focused. I am ashamed of the behaviors I do to myself. What I do is disgusting. I'm weak and can't control this. Why can't I just stop? Right? Again, probably some common thoughts and feelings that you've had yourself. And finally, we have characterological or global focused thoughts and feelings. So that might include this makes me a bad person. I am faulty. I am weak and have no willpower. No one is going to respect me or take me seriously. Um, Maybe you've had some of these. So, all of these shameful thoughts in all three of these categories will make you feel worse about yourself and will actually increase your hair pulling. The worse you feel, the more negative your thoughts are, the more negative your thoughts and feelings are, the worse you're going to feel. The worse you're going to feel, the more upset you're going to get. And what are you going to do to comfort yourself? is you're going to pull. So it's this cycle, unfortunately. So I want to take a minute um, for you guys just to observe your own thoughts and feelings. So maybe you can relate to some of the ones that I just mentioned. Maybe you have something different. Um, and what I want you to do is just think of that thought that you commonly experience that causes you distress. Maybe close your eyes and really think about that thought for a couple of seconds. Get into it, observe the thought, and notice how it makes you feel. Just think about that for a second. What are some of your thoughts? So now take that same thought and add, I am having a thought that. So in the beginning of your thought that you're thinking about right now, add, I am having a thought that. Okay, say it out loud, say it in your head for a couple seconds, and notice if that makes any difference. I am having a thought that. Okay, take a deep breath. Okay, now stay with the thought and add, I am noticing that I have a thought that. Okay, so in the beginning of your thought, same thought, or you can pick a different one. Add, I am noticing that I have a thought that. Okay, and stick with that again for a couple of seconds. Say it in your head, say it out loud, write it down, and notice how you feel about that. Okay, I hope that was interesting for you. Um, you might find that rephrasing, just even using those two simple, um, adding those two simple sentences can help gain a little bit of a distance from the thought. When you gain a little bit of distance, it helps to change the perspective. And when you're able to do that, it makes room for more forgiveness and self-compassion. When you have more forgiveness and self-compassion, you're going to feel less shameful. Okay. So I want to go back into more detail with the thoughts that I mentioned before. Not going to leave you hanging like that. So, because these are some heavy duty thoughts and feelings and common thoughts and feelings. And I rephrase them for some examples, but you can rephrase them however you'd like. These are just some examples. So body focused. So I am ashamed about how I look. I notice that I'm feeling unhappy about how I look right now. You see that little bit of a difference? I notice that I'm feeling unhappy about how I look right now. I am ugly. I am judging myself and perceive that I am ugly when really I'm just unhappy with how I look today. Or one aspect of what you don't like about yourself, right? You might find that there's only a couple of things you don't like in that moment, but there are lots of other things you do like. So something to keep in mind. The damage I caused is disgusting. I feel like the consequence of pulling is disgusting. So I don't like the word damage. I feel like it's really harsh and is more upsetting. So what you're really upset about is the consequence of pulling. I also don't like the word disgusting. So that might be a word that you play around with to rephrase. Um, no one is going to like me. I worry that no one is going to like me. And I notice that I am projecting, meaning maybe you're not feeling too hot about yourself in that moment. So you're assuming that other people are going to feel that same way, when reality is they're not. People will think I am weird or something is wrong with me. I worry that people may think that I'm weird or something is wrong with me. Right? Again, you're projecting, you're making that assumption. Okay. It's your own inner critic. Okay. Behavioral focused. I am ashamed of the behaviors I do to myself. I notice that I'm feeling ashamed about the behaviors I engage in, right? I don't like this I do to myself. You're not doing it to yourself. It's the disorder. So it's the behavior that you're engaging in. Okay. And notice here how we have that, we practiced, I noticed that, and I have that here in this rephrase, right? I noticed that. Um, what I do is disgusting. I feel like what I do is disgusting. And again, you might want to rephrase that word disgusting. I'm weak and can't control this. It feels like I am weak and can't control this, even though it's a disorder and out of my control, right? Um, I added that second part. Sometimes adding another part to kind of further explain, further reality test is really helpful. Why can't I just stop? I often wonder why I can't stop, even though I want to and try. Because we all know you are all trying very hard. Okay. So characterological or global. This makes me a bad person. I feel like this makes me a bad person, but like any other person, I have strengths and weaknesses, right? You're only, oh, the next part. I am faulty. This makes me feel faulty, but I am only human, right? We are human. No one is perfect. Everyone's got something. I am weak and have no willpower. I notice that I feel weak and have no willpower, even though it has nothing to do with willpower. Nothing to do with willpower. That might be hard to sit with, but it's true. No one is going to respect me or take me seriously. I worry no one is going to respect me or take me seriously. Right. So do you notice those subtle differences? I hope that you do. I hope that was helpful. Um, Feel free to experiment and rephrase some of your own thoughts. And you can rephrase thoughts in different ways and many different times and see what works best for you. Some rephrasing fun facts. So our thoughts have a tremendous impact on how we feel, if you haven't noticed that already, and a tremendous impact on how you behave. So when you treat the negative thoughts that you're having as facts, you're going to feel worse, right? You're going to pull more because you're going to feel guilty. Your thoughts are not facts, right? They're just your own perceptions, your own judgments. Everyone falls into cognitive distortions on occasion. That's what this is. when we're having these negative thoughts, they're cognitive distortions. It's part of being human. Um, it's hard to identify and catch in the moment. So don't worry about it if you don't notice it right away. Um, Sometimes it takes time, it takes practice. So if you're kind of reflecting later on and noticing it, rephrase then. It's a good opportunity to practice rephrasing whenever you recognize it. When you're able to identify those distortions, you'll know that your mind is trying to play tricks on you. And then you can reframe, redirect your thoughts so that they have less of a negative impact on your moods and behaviors. So I wanted to reassure you and really emphasize that this is a disorder and therefore it's not controllable. It's only manageable. There's a difference between that. Controllable is puts a lot more pressure on you. Manageable allows for more flexibility and again more self-compassion and self-care, self-forgiveness. So it's manageable. It's nothing to do with weakness or willpower. You are strong. Okay, trust me, you are strong. Even if you don't feel it or believe it, it's true. You are strong. It is a disorder doing this to you, not you. So separate yourself from the disorder. Um, you will notice way more than other people because you know what it is. It's happening to you. You are hyper aware. So you are your harshest critic. Most people are not going to notice or care. Okay. And I will again repeat, you are not your disorder. People will love you, care about you. They will respect you because you are you. Okay. So going into some coping skills and strategies, keeping all of this in mind. Um, Self-compassion, right? We talked a little bit about that already, but to go a little bit more in depth, remind yourself this is a mental illness. It is not something that you choose or can control. So be mindful of what you're telling yourself and avoid criticizing or judging yourself, kind of like what we just did with the thoughts and feelings. Okay, so take some deep breaths and understand that your urge or slip um, is going to pass. It's temporary. You will get back on track. It's okay. It's part of the process. Understand what happened. What is it all about? What can you do next time? Forgive yourself. Soothe yourself with self-care. Self-care is so, so important. Don't beat yourself up. Make a plan. Okay. These coping skills and strategies, by the way, will help manage those strong emotions. Will help you get back on track, will help you to be more confident and feel better about yourself. So finding acceptance, defining your story, respect your thoughts and feelings, listen to them, give them a space. Don't push them under the rug. Don't hold them in. That's going to make you feel worse. And when you feel worse, you're going to pull more. So explore your experience. Maybe you want to explore it through writing or art, doing something fun. Can you find the rose in the concrete? You might recognize that from a poem. Can you find the rose in the concrete? So some examples, some ideas to get you started. My scars are, my pulling, picking, biting is. Have a conversation with your urges, right? Talk to your urges. My BFRB teaches me. Okay. Okay. Love messages. Um, Write positive messages to yourself, self-love, encouraging statements, Put it on post-it notes. Put it around your home in trigger situations as reminders. You can put it, for example, on mirrors, on a desk, a nightstand. Uh, and an important part of that is change up your messages. Keep it fresh. Okay. If you have a message up for too long, you might get bored and you might start to ignore it. So keep rotating them. You might even want to consider little pop-up reminders on your phone for when you're out and about. And again, these are messages of self-love to yourself and encouraging statements. Something when you're trying to think about what am I going to write on to myself as a reminder. Think about what you would want to hear from someone when they're trying to comfort you. What would you like someone else to tell you? You can also think about what would you tell someone else to support them if they were in a difficult situation or going through a challenge? Some examples, again, just to get you started. My BFRB does not define me. Breathe. This too shall pass. I am beautiful and strong. I am working hard and taking one step at a time. All right. So some really good reminders. Connect. Connect with other strugglers. You can connect through social media, blogs, YouTube, Facebook pages, Facebook groups, virtual support groups, in-person support groups, right? Share your story. Listen to others. Receive feedback and support. Give feedback and support. You are not alone. This connecting and sharing helps to normalize this disorder. It helps to reduce that shame and that stigma that we talked about earlier. Values. So engage in what's important to you and what brings you joy. So the more frequent you're able to stay true to your values, the better you'll feel. And the better you'll feel, the more likely it is that you're going to have lower and less frequent urges. When you feel good about what you're engaged in, you're going to feel better about yourself, right? When you feel better about yourself, that increases self-esteem, self-worth, and it decreases that shame and isolation, right? And dress for success. And what I mean by this is wear something that's comfortable, that helps you to feel like you, something that you enjoy wearing, something that gives you confidence. So you can rock that wig, hat, scarf, or you can rock spots, rock baldness, right? Wear stickers or stick-on jewels. You can show off your body art, tattoos, or art that you're just drawing on yourself. Dress up in outfits with jewelry or wear a cool belt, wear heels, sexy undergarments. Show off what you feel good about. Experiment though. Experiment with your style and find what feels good. Again, when you feel good, you're going to glow. Okay. And you're going to feel more confident. And when you feel more confident, again, that shame is going to decrease. Okay. So some resources that you might want to consider checking out is TrickStop does have monthly webinars. In fact, I think there's another one coming up maybe next week. That's a really nice follow-up to this one that you might want to check out. Just take a look at their schedule. And if you miss any webinars, again, we record it. So it's really helpful to go back and look at some of the old webinars or repeat them. It's good to watch and rewatch because it reinforces some of these ideas and they're really helpful reminders. There are also a lot of online forums and blogs. Trickstop.com, most recently, again, there's a blog on this topic that you might find helpful. So check it out. TrickStop also has Facebook groups, Instagram, and a TikTok. So helpful way to stay connected. And as I mentioned before, the more connected you are, the more likely it is that shame will decrease. And you'll feel like you have a better able to manage those emotions. Okay. So if you have questions, or questions come up later on, you can contact the customer support email, which is support@trickstop.com. You can also email me. I'm happy to answer additional questions, laura@helpingminds.com. You can also join the program. I see there's a $100 discount for the first month, Pro Web 100. So something to check out. I'm going to address some questions live right now as well. So start typing in your questions in the question answer. And if you think of a question later and you didn't get a chance to ask it now, email it to us. We do also have a regular frequently asked question webinar. So feel free to write in questions for that as well. And today I will be answering questions related to this topic. If there are questions that are a little bit more general or off topic, I'm going to redirect you to the frequently asked question webinar, and I will address it there. Okay. So I'm going to stop the screen share. Okay, now I can see. Okay, I'm gonna start taking your questions. So the recording is on the web, will be on the website. I believe there is a tab for webinars, so you can see any of the past webinars that we've done. And that will be up, not tonight, maybe tomorrow, probably by Friday. I would say they're pretty fast. Just that. They're pretty fast about getting the webinars up. Okay. And actually, I think that if you register for this webinar, you might even get an email with a link to the webinar. So kind of keep an eye out for that. Okay. So this question comes up a lot. It's a little bit more general, but I'm going to answer it now because it's related, kind of related. I'll make it relate. So can someone get completely cured from this? So this idea of can I get cured can lead to those strong emotions, and can lead to that feeling shame and frustrated. This is a chronic disorder. So what that means is that there is no cure, unfortunately, at least not yet. There is no cure. But that does not mean that you're always going to have it, that it's always going to be active, I should say. So you could very much manage it so it's no longer interferes with your life. So it might feel like it's not there anymore. It might be dormant forever or for a long time, but you're never cured. I hope one day, but as of now, no cure. Only strategies for management. As you gain confidence with your management skills, though, that will help you, again, reduce that sense of shame, guilt, and managing those strong emotions, frustration, sadness, disappointment. My email, laura@helpingminds.com. So my name, Laura at helpingminds.com. Okay. After a relapse, what is the quickest way to get back on track? Yeah, that's a good question. Um, so when you have a relapse, or as I mentioned, slip, right? The fastest way is to identify it as a slip, not a relapse, a slip. Because when you identify it as a slip, you're gonna feel better about it, right? Oops, it's a slip. Oops, it was maybe a big slip. Um, but when you use the word slip, it allows for more self-forgiveness. And when you have more self-forgiveness and self-compassion, and when you understand why you had that slip, what happened, what was the trigger, what can you do next time? That kind of sets you up for getting back on track more quickly. So I hope that answers that question. If you're really struggling, um, it can be helpful, again, to do what we just went over, but also kind of start tracking strategies. When you track your strategies that you want to be using, it's a helpful reminder. And it's nice to like check them off. So when you're checking off the strategies that you're using, it helps you to feel good about what you're doing. You're taking an active stance, an active approach, action steps, and it helps you to feel good. And then you get back on track. All easier said than done, of course, but it's possible. And every time there's a slip, you'll get back on track a little bit faster each time because you get used to it. You get used to that process of what am I going to do now? What happened? What am I going to do next time? Okay. Other questions? Don't be shy. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, do you know of any discrete fidget toys? I tend to get nervous and start to pull in work meetings where there are a lot of people. So, yes, there are lots of fidgets. I actually recommend going on the website and check out the past webinar. I did one on fidgets, and I was quite detailed and went over a ton of fidgets. So I do recommend checking out that webinar. Um, and yeah, when you're at work, I understand you want to be a little bit more discreet because you don't want to feel embarrassed that you're taking out a fidget, right? And that feeling of embarrassment is going to lead to those strong emotions. Um, so some discreet things, especially for work, are like fidget rings, jewelry. So fidget rings, spinner necklaces, um, bracelets, different kinds of things that you're wearing, fabrics. Um, some subtle ones are like magnetic stones. I can really go on and on. Fidget pens, fidget pencils. Um, there are a lot. So check out that webinar and do what feels comfortable for you. You're welcome. I'm getting some thank yous here. Um, I'm just gonna read it out loud instead of in my head. I'm a therapist, and my client just disclosed after quite some time that she has trich, which she hasn't opened up about. So glad she opened up to you about it. Um, on one hand, I'm grateful, yep, to hold this space for her, but how can I be looking out for myself in the future? Oh, imposter syndrome. Yeah, is so real, but also want to make sure I'm managing my triggers. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you have trick and your client just opened up that they have trick, it makes you more understanding, more compassionate. Yes, be mindful of your triggers and your self-care. So think about when you're having sessions, are you comfortable? What's going to help you to feel comfortable? Okay, what are you going to do before sessions? What are you going to do after? Have a plan so that you can manage some of those emotions that are occurring in the session. Um, and just be aware. I think that's really important. Um, but I think that's also really special. Again, it makes it a better experience for your client because you understand. You don't have to disclose it, um, but you know. So it will be very valuable for your client. If I didn't fully answer your question, again, feel free to expand. Um, so will briefly touch on this. This is a little bit more of a general question. I find that my behaviors can happen both when I'm stressed and relaxed. Yes, overstimulated or understimulated. I also notice that it's a way for me to self-soothe. Yes. Do you have any recommendations on other self-soothing techniques? So, yes, there are many, 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 many. So some that I can briefly go over to help manage some of those emotions when you're feeling stressed or trying to relax. Um, Breathing, walking, exercising, right? Moving around, changing your position. Of course, finding different fidgets and things that are relaxing, things that you could squeeze. Even just like lying down on the floor sometimes, just to kind of reground yourself, can be really good. Um, so again, there are a lot, um, and I can go on and on, but just pick a couple of things to try. Um, you know, making sure you have some water, cool yourself down with some water. If you're feeling cold, warm yourself up with some tea, put water on your face, take a shower. These are all things that you can do to self-soothe, right? And self-care. Anything for self-caring, lotions, soft music, art, okay? Um, Things like that. Okay. Um, there's a question here. It's a good one. I get it often, but it's not related to this webinar, so I'm going to skip that one. So ask it again during the frequently asked question webinar, and I will address it then. Super helpful. Thank you. Um, oh, I did. Oh, this is a follow-up. I did end up self-disclosing. Yeah, and felt like it was and will be healing for both of us in different ways. I totally agree. It is nerve-wracking opening up to a client about something, yep, that only my closest loved ones know about. Yeah, but you might notice again, opening up and sharing, talking about it reduces stigma, reduces shame, makes your client feel like they're not alone. It really is a thing. A lot of people have this disorder. So when you're role modeling that it's okay to talk about, it's really helpful. It's helpful and it shows that it's not so scary actually to open up about it. And the more you open up about it, the more it's out there in the world, the more it's known, the more it will be picked up by researchers, right? The more researchers understand that it really is a problem that affects so many people, the more funding they're going to get. And the more funding they're going to get, more research is going to get done, and the closer we are going to get to finding more answers. So it all stems from talking about it. So I'm really glad that you opened up. Um, okay. Other questions? Okay. Again, if you think of something later on, feel free to email support@trickstop.com or email me at laura@helpingminds.com. And you can also wait for the next webinar, the frequently asked question webinar, and pre-submit your questions, and I will address any and all questions there. We usually get a lot of questions. You can also look back at all those past frequently asked question webinars, just to kind of see what some of the questions people have been asking and what some of those answers are. So feel free to check that out. Okay, if that is it, I will say goodbye to everyone. Thank you all for joining. I'm so glad this was helpful for those that commented that this was helpful. If you have suggestions or would like to see us do other webinars in the future, let us know. Let us know some topics that are important to you that you want us to share. Okay, you're welcome. So thank you again. Thank you all. And till next time. Okay.